you so worried about?
What the feels? Welcome? Welcome? Is that a question? I don't know. I sound kind of worried when I'm saying that. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about worry, and I think it's a really good first video because there's a lot of different things that I'm worrying about right now. Yeah, on top of the things that I'm just constantly worrying about. So we're gonna take an open and honest look, and I can say already that it's gonna get awkward. I'm gonna feel awkward. You're probably gonna feel awkward for me, and I'm so sorry about that. But that is the nature of talking about something that you're not comfortable talking about. But that is the point. That is the point of this channel. That is the point of our time here, is to just let go of all those weird feelings that you have towards feelings and just go for it. Just think about it, attack it, and so worry. That is our topic. We're going to be looking at two specific things. We're going to be looking at physical symptoms that you may be experiencing while you are worrying. And secondly, we're going to look at a possible plan, something that you could use, a process you can follow that will help you deal with a particular worry that you're thinking about. And again, I'm going to just reiterate that I am definitely not an expert. If you've come here to listen to something or someone who has it all together, that is not me. I am not an expert at all. We'll be kind of learning about this whole thing together, and hopefully getting a better understanding of ourselves in the process. That is definitely a question I ask myself, because I am not necessarily always considering when there is a worry or not. And I would say it's probably because I'm in a natural state of worry. So if I'm not worrying about this thing, I'm worrying about that thing, and so there's always something that I'm worrying about. And for some reason, I didn't think this was a bad thing. I don't know. I'm saying this out loud, and it sounds ridiculous. But a funny story is that every time I go to the massage therapist, when she's working on my shoulders, she'll say, "Wow, you're super tight." And every single time, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this particular pattern, every single time I'm saying, "Oh, really? I don't feel tight. This is how I normally feel." So that should have been a warning, I think, and I wasn't picking up on that. But in any case, we can say logically that there are a lot of connections that go on together between your physical state and your emotional state. And I am one to say often, oh, I need to eat better, I need to exercise more, and so I am concerned about my physical state, but not realizing that my emotional state is also a contributing factor there. We worry about worry not because it's a bad thing, but because it's a red flag. Your body or something, your mind, is telling you that you need to be dealing with something. You need to be thinking about something. Don't just push it to the side. Don't keep pushing it away. You really need to think about it. So we are going to look at a couple of resources, and I get all my resources so far, from this video at least, from the most reliable source whatsoever, Pinterest. So not only I'm obviously just joking. Pinterest. It is a good resource because it's a page of links to go to whatever avenue that you want. So not only is it in picture form, but then you get to explore all the different places it goes. Anyway, So here it's just basically a picture. It is a picture of a body, and the body is displaying various ways that you might be feeling a physical symptom to your emotional state. So I am worrying about something, and so therefore maybe one of these things is happening to you. And I want to kind of delineate here two different types of worry. So maybe one of the worries that you have is kind of an immediate response. So you're at work and your boss asks you, hey, I need you to make this quick presentation. You've done a lot of research, quick, just explain to everybody what that is. And immediately something that you are having to deal with and you're just not mentally prepared for it. And then we have what I would term as more of a constant worry, and something that maybe you're constantly thinking about, and it might be more under the surface that you're not even realizing is there, versus the other one I just mentioned. These constant worries, that's where, when I looked at this list here, I finally realized that there was something in that my body was doing that I didn't even realize it was tied to being worried and stressed. And so for me, it would be all tied to a more of a, like, my body gets super tight and compressed. So this back pain item here, that really makes sense to me because I'm kind of feeling it and getting tight, and I feel tight just like talking about it. So that's one particular area, but then also for me, I get tight in my jaw and my teeth. I will clench, I will be grinding my teeth at night, and I'm not even realizing it, and then the next morning I wake up and I got pain, and I didn't even make the connection that that was telling me, there's a red flag right there telling me that I need to be thinking about something. Something is on my mind and I am worried about it, and so I better take the time to think about it. And I didn't realize that until recently. So it's never too late to learn, right? So the next resource that we're going to be looking at is a process. It is something, again, I found on the glorious Pinterest. And so what I did was I kind of just went through the process, and I took some time. And the funny thing is that this is my second time recording this, and the first time I had just gone through the process once. And then as I was like editing the video, I noticed, well, I feel like a fraud because I've only done it once. I haven't really thought through all my worries, and I mean, I know I'm not an expert, but I mean, I can't just come over here and start spouting something that I haven't really like internalized. At least I don't feel right doing that. So this is my second time recording this, and I feel like I have a bigger picture, which is more important, I think. I've gone through this process multiple times, and we'll see what this looks like. So again, we have a visual here. It's called the worry tree. And I kind of like that, again, ask questions, because it's kind of like a dialogue. I'm having a dialogue with myself. And so here we have question and now answer, question and answer, because I'm not going to be really thinking through these things myself. I'm going to go through one example just to kind of get an idea of how it feels. And I, again, encourage you to go through an example of your own, just so you can kind of get a feel for, does it work for you? So number one, it tells us to notice the worry. And so that kind of goes back to what we were just previously talking about, physical symptoms, things that you're noticing that you're thinking about. Number two, what are you worrying about? So here, I would just say, kind of just get it all out there. Bullet list them, brainstorm everything that you're thinking about in the moment. And when I say in the moment, I don't mean literally in the moment. It's just over the last few days for this time period, what are you thinking about? Just get it all out there. Some might be worries and some may not be worries, but you can sift through that later and decide. And so for this particular example, I'm going to use one that I came up with, which was I worry about the unexpected actions of others. And I think that especially now, this is something that's on my mind because of just what's happening in the world around us. And when people kind of get at a heightened state, when they're stressed, when they're also worrying about things, then sometimes they do things that they don't normally do. Not wanting to harm people, but doing harmful things. And so yeah, there's my worry. Number 3, can I do anything about it? So in my particular example, I would say technically no. I cannot really control the actions of others. They're going to do what they're going to do, and so that's why I think I worry about it, because I can't control what they're going to do. So then it says, let the worry go and think about something else. So let it go? Really? Cue the music. I mean, how do you let something like that go? How do you let these go? It's so hard. I mean, it's easy to say it on paper, but so I was thinking about this when I was going through the process, and rather than just let it go because I can't, and I know that's bad, I'm going to think about it a little bit differently. So I'm going to go back up the tree, and I'm going to go back to the no or yes question, and I'm going to say, can I do anything about it? No, but I can control my mindset. So that's where I'm going to go through and kind of take this process. So it tells me next to make a plan. And so my general plan was, if something chaotic happens around me, if I notice, something is happening and, somebody's acting out of the normal, then what I want to do is not just immediately respond, because I might be reacting and overreacting in this particular case, depending on what it is. Instead, I would just want to stop for a moment and think about the different aspects. So I might want to think about, what do I notice around me? What is actually happening? I want to think about, what could I do? What are some tools that I have, some strategies that I have in my tool belt? And that is going to give me a better response. It'll be more responsive and not reactive. And so it's not necessarily something that I can have planned, but it already gives me comfort if I think about that I don't have to give an immediate response. I can take, a minute, 30 seconds even, to really analyze the situation and not have to jump in without even thinking. I can kind of go through the steps now of actually letting it go and releasing the kind of worry that I have, because now I can see that I may not have all the control, but I do still have some control. And that is a little reassuring. So we have come to my favorite portion of the video, and that is analyzing the particular artifact that we have just used in seeing all the pros and cons and how to make it better. Looking at number 1, the picture of the symptoms, it was very helpful for me because I had not even considered some of those particular symptoms, and it helped me to also recognize other symptoms. So hopefully it will help you too. Number 2, the worry tree, we had a process that was helpful, things that I hadn't really considered before, of thinking through myself and asking myself about what I'm thinking about it. Super helpful. The one thing I would change, though, like I had mentioned for the example that I used, is maybe I can't change something, but I would add in there, how do I change my mindset? So maybe you can't force other people to do things, can't really control what they're going to do or not do, but I can change the way I feel about it and the way I think about it. So that would be the only change that I would make to that particular artifact. And I also wanted to mention a few things that I learned along the way. And so starting with one that I'll probably say quite often, and that is, it will take time. It will definitely take time, and it's time that you're not used to doing for, these particular items. You are probably used to thinking about other things, but not necessarily this. And so it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like awkward, like, why am I taking all this time? But it's really going to benefit you to do that. And you might come to something where you're going to need to unpack it. Number 2, I would say you need to be honest with yourself. No one else is going to hear this. No one else is going to see this. It's for you. It's not for anyone else. So be honest. And then the last thing I would say is you really want to make sure that you're stopping right away. So when you start noticing those symptoms, or you start noticing that you're worrying about something, it's really going to help you to stop and think about it then. Don't push it. Don't keep saying, oh, I'll just deal with it later, because you know, and I know that's not going to happen. So make sure that you are dealing with it right away. And just so you know, I'm saying these things to myself too. So we've come to the end, and I want to thank you all for joining me, and I hope that you found something beneficial for yourself, and that you go through a process where you understand yourself and your worries a little bit better so that you can tackle them. And I hope that you join me next time when we take a look at another feeling, another emotion. We investigate it, we get open and honest, and we will be getting awkward. Yes, just get over that. We're going to be getting awkward. Just get it all out. It's going to happen. Sorry. That's just the way it is. And with that, I want to say goodbye. For yourself. No one's going to see this. No one's going to look at your journal. No one's going to listen back at your memos. I mean, maybe if you put it in a time capsule, then people in the future are going to look at it. That would be interesting.